Good morning. Welcome to episode 14 of The Word Works. I'm Jessica Heilman.
And I'm Jeff Heilman. Good morning.
And we're here today with the topic box in which we draw from weekly in order to find out what we're going to talk about with everybody who chooses to watch our videos and to be encouraged by a topical Bible study on them. Something really loud just fell. If you don't know, Jeff and I have been married for 13 years and we have 5 beautiful children. The oldest is 12 and the youngest is 1. And currently they are out in the living room doing something that I don't know what they're doing. But we're going to draw today. There's we've narrowed it down. It's been 14 weeks, so we're actually getting through the topics pretty quickly. There's about 22 of them in here. And today we're going to talk about sensibility, Proverbs 31:16. And I've got Proverbs 31:16 right here on my computer, and it says, "She considers a field, she being the wise person, considers a field and buys it. Out of their earnings, she plants a vineyard." Out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. So when I was writing the 22-day challenge, which will be published coming up this summer, I'm hoping, I'm not going to cross my fingers because all we need is God, and if it's this summer or not, it's up to Him. But when I was writing about it, she considers a field, and out of her earnings, she plants a vineyard. The characteristic that came out of that, derived from that, was being sensible and being able to see when you are doing something that there's a long-term effect to whatever it is that you're doing. And what would you say about being sensible and making sensible and wise decisions, Jeff?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is something that I learned from one of Robert Kiyosaki's books, which is just that, successful people buy assets that produce an income and grow the value of the capital invested through the value of the equity growing up, whether it's a business or if you restore old cars that you're able to buy undervalued and then repair them, or if you're buying undeveloped land and then partitioning it off and then selling it in smaller pieces. Anytime you're buying something that is going to go up in value, it's wise and to me very sensible. And what people who typically struggle financially buy is consumables.
Yeah.
They buy things that cost them money either to maintain or that are consumed, whether it's large quantities of food or cars or clothes that are here today, and then 5 and 10 years from now they're not here anymore, and yet they've consumed a large amount of capital. So that was the first thing that I thought of when you.
I think Proverbs 31:16 is a really great indicator of allowing the Christian validation that it's okay to be in business. Period. I mean, the scripture in its own says they consider a field and buy it, and then out of their earnings they plant a vineyard. So it's almost indicated, it's almost self-indicating that there's a process that, being a Christian or not, you should not overlook buying and selling. It doesn't say anything about you just wait and everything will be given to you, and if you just be a good servant of your master, you're going to get everything handed to you on a silver platter. No, it specifically takes away an excuse that most Christians have, that they're not supposed to be buying and selling and in the marketplace. Proverbs 31:16 is an excellent scripture, no matter how you read it, whether you read it in Message or NIV or King James, that it just really validates the ability to be able to go into business. It talks nothing about debt. It says that she buys it. It even says that they consider the field before they buy it. So what does that mean? That means that you make time to think about your decisions, your financial decisions, before you go and make your purchases. And I think that's extremely important, because we've been guilty of, I know I've been guilty of, being in faith and just throwing money and going and buying things, and maybe I'll go, oh, I really want that sweater for myself so that I can wear it, and I can believe God for another sweater. And it's almost becomes a consumer mentality when you start saying that you're in faith and proclaiming prosperity and wanting to be rich. You just start spending all your money, and it almost becomes a trap. And you need to be careful of that trap, that you're not just going to go out frivolously spending money in belief that you'll just have more. And that what you need to understand with scriptures like Proverbs 31:16 is that there's a buying and a selling, and if you're just going out for yourself to buy, then there's really no advantage to there's no profit that you're going to be able to make doing that.
And it speaks to the project planning of looking and considering a field, and what have the crops been from that field, and what's the quality of the soil, and does it need to be I mean, that word considers could be extrapolated to mean a lot of different things. But if we look at the scripture again, she considers a field and buys it. So she's looking at the field, looking at the ground. With the golf tournaments coming up this summer, I've had to be extremely disciplined with the time that I've got available to project plan out. What do I need to do to stay in excellent top physical shape at 35 years old? There's a lot of guys in there 18 to 25 that I'll be competing with, and I want to make sure that I can last all throughout the tournament, walking and playing golf every day for 4 or 5 hours.
So you're
plus
not
practice.
you're considering the field of players.
I'm considering the field of players, yeah.
In this.
And having to plan out what am I going to need to do to stay in shape, what am I going to need to do to work on my game, and then also considering the actual course itself. What are the shots that I need to play? Looking from green all the way back to tee, for example, on 18 at Bandette, it's straight into the wind. It's a long par 5, and there's really not, unless the wind's at my back, there's really no way I'm going to be able to get to the green in 2. So I know that my shot on the drive needs to stay to the right of the fairway. My second shot will be about a 200-yard 6-iron layup to the middle, which will leave me with a 110-yard sand wedge to get into the green based on a tight pin position in the back left. Though that type of planning and considering both the field of players I need to compete against and the specific shots I need in order to accomplish what my objective on that particular course requires a lot of planning and effort.
And the second half of the scripture says, not only do they consider and buy the field, and not only do they make plans and project plan for the activity, but she doesn't just go out and plant a seed. It says she plants a vineyard. Yeah. So her vision and the person who does this, their vision has to be, it's almost grandiose in comparison, but yet there's no room for failure because they've already considered it, they've already bought it, their earnings have paid for it, and now they're out there with vineyard in mind. That's you're right. You're not doing all this preparation and all this work so that you can, maybe qualify. You're doing all this work
doing it to win the tournament.
So that you can win the tournament.
That's
You
right.
have vineyard vision backed behind something that hasn't even occurred yet, which is you haven't even gone through the process yet. And so what we need to really extrapolate from this scripture, and what I've tried to do with the word works, and even in the book that I'm writing, is take a scripture that could seem totally foreign. I mean, we don't go out and look at fields and, literally, we don't go out and look at fields and buy them and plant vineyards. Not most of us, but what we can say is there's a principle within this scripture that we can apply, everybody can apply in their daily life. We can apply this scripture literally to the actions and the principles within the scripture, considering, purchasing, earning, and vision.
Reinvesting
and vision, and based on the vision. And so what I would like and what I would encourage you to do as Christians in the Word and reading the Word is take the principle literal out of the word and apply it to your life. We're applying Proverbs 31:16 in our lives right now by doing these golf tournaments and by being sensible in all our decisions. And the sensible person will look at it all as a whole. They'll consider it, they will go for it, and they will go for it with a big vision in mind. And I think that's really a key thing. So whatever it is that you're going through, and I've said it once, and I'll say it again, pursuing your passion and doing whatever it is that you love to do, consider what you're going to do with your life. Go plan to buy it or plan to do it. So that's the action. You have to consider, you have to do an action, and then as you're starting to reap reward from that action, have a big vision for what it is that you want to have accomplished. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and I would add one thing to that, and that's that be willing to continue to keep investing in your life.
Absolutely.
People are not successful in a year or in 2 years or even 5 years. People are successful in 5 and 10 and 20 and 30 and 50 years in creating a vineyard. Even a vineyard itself takes, I guess is it 6 or 7 years?
For the grapes to be ready.
From the time you plant the seed till the branches grow. So, a vineyard, she's talking about a long-term harvest here. This isn't a 90-day or a 1-year crop rotation. This is something that's long-term.
The vision of the completed vineyard's already in her mind. It's just getting it to that goal. So we love you guys. Happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Good night.